Okay, all right, what'd you guys think of that last vid? In the Glock sucking video? Hey, I thought it was pretty funny. Judging by the comments and the reaction, just about all you did too. Had a few, 4 or 5 people there with a stick up their ass, but hey, that shit happens. So don't worry about them, let them rock and roll. Anyway, our Thunder Ranch 500. We're gonna do a disassembly and a reassembly on this. Now, I went ahead and cleaned it. I was going to go ahead and disassemble it, then clean it, then come back and do the reassembly, but I went ahead and took it apart, cleaned it, because I needed to get some practice in on taking it apart, putting it back together. It's been a while since I've done a 500. But this is a basic 500, guys. There's really not anything different here. It looks different. It looks more tactical and stuff like that, but it is a base 500 receiver and really all of it. You could actually put a different magazine tube and barrel on it if you wanted to, and change the entire appearance if you wanted to. But we're going to do a disassembly and a reassembly on it. There's a lot of videos out there on it, guys, so if you already know how to do this, this may be a little bit boring to you, but this is for people that, you know, maybe don't do this a lot or need to push in the right direction, and we'll go from there. I'll try to keep her down. So the first thing we want to do is want to make sure it is empty. I know it is, but we're going to go ahead and make sure it's not loaded. Okay, now in the 500 series, guys, the best thing to do is to pull the slide back about halfway. The reason being for that is on the barrel, on the top of the barrel, I'll show them to you when I get out, you got locking lugs, and the bolt, when the bolt's all the way forward, kind of locks the barrel into place, you can't get it out. So you just unscrew the barrel down here on the end till you get it completely free, and then it just lifts out and comes free. Now here's the locking lugs I was telling you about. The bolt comes forward, it locks in here and keeps the barrel placed. So that's why you need to have that slide part of the way back. We set it aside. Go ahead and pull the slide on forward. At least that's what I do. You don't really have to, but I do. The next thing you want to do, and let me see if I can get this a little bit closer here on this part. The next thing you're going to want to do is take out your trigger housing group, and there's this pin right here that you can punch out, and I don't have anything to knock it out with because I'm a moron. It doesn't take a lot. You can use anything. I'm going to use this pin. Push it out from either side. Doesn't really matter. And then you can pull it on out. And there's the pin. And then the trigger housing group will just simply lift out. And there she goes. The next step into taking it apart, you can go ahead, it's going to go ahead and part for me. You have the cartridge interrupter, which is right here, and you have the cartridge stop on the other side. Go ahead and remove them because they're going to come free and fall. Pull the slide back just a little bit, about halfway again, and then you can reach in here and you can pull out the bolt slide. And it just lifts right out and comes free. And then from here, you can take the slide off. Just slide right off the end of the magazine tube, and there it is, it's out. From this point forward here, the bolt, slide it all the way out the front of the receiver group. Here's your bolt carrier group. And the last thing is the elevator. Squeeze them together, and it lifts right out. And that's your basic disassembly right there, guys. It's basically out. I'll back it up just a little bit. And that's all there is to it. It's real simple to take it apart. Now putting it back together sometimes can be a little bit tricky. We're going to give her our best shot. Now you can take out the extractor right here. There's one screw that holds it, but that's one of these, kind of like the magazine tube. Guys, about every 500 rounds, take it out, run your patch through it or something like that, oil up the spring and put the follower back in, because the only thing inside here is the spring and follower. Okay, and that's all there is to it. So I don't think it's necessary to take it off every time. This is, and in fact, to be honest with you, whenever I shoot this shotgun, I don't take it apart this far until after at least 100 rounds. The barrel, yeah, I'll clean the barrel every time, but whether I shoot 5, 10, whatever. But I don't pull all of this stuff out until about 100 rounds. Now, you can vary it. It also depends on conditions, if it gets wet and all that, and of course that always is. That's not even worth mentioning. But as a general rule, I personally don't think it's necessary to pull all this out every time you clean it. You know, some people are different, you can if you want. But at any rate, when we reassemble it, first thing we're going to do, zoom in here just a little bit. Maybe we can get some better views. Hopefully I can stay in frame. When we reassemble it, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in the elevator. Now, you just squeeze it together, and there's 2 holes back here in the back that it line up with. Boy, where'd I go to school? And it should make a complete fool out of you when you're on camera trying to put this thing together, and it won't go back in there right. And there it is, finally, and it'll just drop in. Always one side wants to make an idiot out of you. But that's it. Then our bolt carrier group, okay, the rounded side down, goes right in the front. Sometimes you have to use 2 fingers to manipulate it around, okay, and get it past the extractor and pull it on back. And you can actually pull it all the way back if you want to. I usually leave it about midway in the receiver at this point, okay. Now at this point you can go ahead and put your slide back on, and when you put your slide back on, when you get it here, you're going to need to actually push down, and it'll go into the 2 slots in the front. When you first put it on, it's going to hit the front of the receiver, so push it down and it'll go in these 2 slots, okay. Then when you go in on the inside of it, I hope this will show up on camera, when you go on the inside of it, right there when you first go into it, you'll need to pull them down again so they'll ride inside these 2 grooves. Okay, and they'll slide all the way back. Now, on the inside here, try to show you this with a camera. You can see right here, these two areas right here in the grooves, and then there's your slide, the 2 notches in the slide. I line it up right toward the back of them at this point, okay? So those 2 notches that are in the slide line up with these 2 places right here within the receiver, and then pull the bolt carrier back until the 2 notches on the bolt carrier are about maybe just toward the rear of this back part of the slide, okay? The reason being, whenever you get ready to drop the bolt slide into it, they will ride in those 2 grooves. This part will ride in that big groove on the bolt, and if we got it right, it should slide right in. And if we don't, it won't. And there it is, it does. So it slides right in at that point. And then you just give it some downward pressure, and it'll ride right in the top of that groove. Okay, you can pull the bolt all the way forward at that time. Then the next step that we want to do, we'll go ahead and we put in our cartridge stop, our cartridge interrupter, I'm sorry. And there on the cartridge interrupter, it actually has a pin, okay? It has a pin on it, and it actually sticks out on this side of the receiver, so it's easy to put it back in correctly. All right, and then we have our, which we don't want to stay in, and then we have our cartridge stop, and it goes with it kind of hooking out, or it kind of hooks to one side like this. It faces toward the inside of the receiver, and it also rides in its own little slot, okay, at that point. Now, here comes the tricky part, is putting this trigger group back in. You have to kind of hold the back part of the cartridge stop and the cartridge interrupter apart, and if everything lines up right, the trigger group should theoretically drop in. Sometimes this can be a bitch. And it went right in for me. That's good. The next thing is just to put the trigger group pin in. Hammer. And there we are. Pull the slide back halfway. Let's zoom back out just a little bit. We put the barrel back on. Screw it back down. I'm off frame, I'm sorry guys. Not much lining up, it only goes in one way. Okay. And we check our functionality. Now, it's on safe right now. Will not fire. Push it off safe, it does. Click. Will not come back. and there's the safety. There we go, guys. That's it. Pretty simple, really. That went together pretty well. Sometimes the trigger group can be a pain in the ass to get back in, but after you take it out and put it back together a few times, it gets a little bit easier. But that's really all there is to it, guys. It's a basic 500. Nothing really special about it. Like I said, you can get a different barrel, a different fore-end, or a different slide, and keep the internals the same probably, and you'd have an all different setup if you wanted to. So that's what's good about the 500. It's very modular and very reliable and very, very proven. All right, guys, that's all I got this time. Let me know what you guys think, and hey, later.